Darkcast Network, indie pods with a dark side.
Hi, this is Jenna.
And this is Kelly.
And you're listening to ODFM.
This episode is One Disillusion from Murder. So this is like a story of love gone wrong in so many different ways. So many ways, like family relationships, romantic relationships, and the disconnection between them all. Yes. So.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
All right. So this story begins in the summer of 2000 with 24-year-old Daniel Halseth, who is at school at Western Oregon University. We're back up in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, dear God. Here we go.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
What is in the water up there? What's happening? What?
I think it's a markup. But anyway, he's up at the Western State University. He's getting his bachelor's degree in music. At this point in his life, he meets 17-year-old Elizabeth Schwarak. So she's 17, he's 24, but...
I was just going to say, yeah, that's
Yeah.
Okay. That's, but see, like when it's high school and college, that's that's a bit of an age difference because they're in different
maturity
parts
level.
Of their lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very different. Mm-hmm. But the two instantly become a couple. I have no clue how they met. No clue how they connected. But
sure, her parents were thrilled.
He's how old?
Right. Right.
24. Oh, and you're 17. Okay. Well, but they become a couple and then they marry in 2001 after Elizabeth turns 18 and graduates from high school. Wow. I know, it's right away. Jump into this. Yeah.
No red flags.
No, not at all.
None.
Nope. Fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. So both Daniel's family and Elizabeth's, they love the couple and they love them together. So it seems to work and they support them fully. I know, despite the age difference.
I have reservations.
I do too. But these guys, they all agree they're perfect for each other. So.
Okay, won't they still be perfect for each other in 2 years?
I know. Can we wait a little bit? I mean, but they decide they immediately want to start a family.
Oh, God. Okay. Sorry. All right. Yep, nope,
we haven't even gotten into the story yet. You're having a freak out.
This is still the normal part. And I'm like,
all the red flags. Oh, God.
Oh,
this is horrible. Why are you doing these things? So they want to start a family. They do. Elizabeth gives birth to Lucy in 2002. Connor in 2003 and Sierra in 2004.
Oh,
boom,
my God.
Boom,
now they have 3 kids.
One year after another.
God, is she 21 yet? God.
Look, she needs to drink. She needs some drinks.
She needs to drink. Oh.
It's a lot.
Ooh, okay.
But they're happy. So the happy family, they all moved to Vegas in 2005 when Daniel gets his dream job in IT. And I'm like, how does music relate to IT? But somehow
music, I don't know. There's like that whole side of the recording and producing on the computer.
That's true. The computer part. That's true.
I don't know. That's maybe way over my head. So, okay. All right.
The whole family loves Vegas and things are looking up even further when Dan's job pays even well. Or no, even better. Even weller.
Yeah, it's weller. We didn't get English degrees, by the way.
It's weller. It's better. It's great.
Okay.
Yeah, no English. No Espanol either. So they love it. He's making money.
Okay.
Daniel and Elizabeth, they get interested in politics and they get super involved in it.
Did not see that one coming. All right.
Politics, family. Okay.
What? All right.
So Elizabeth, she ends up really flourishing in the political world. And she begins getting involved more and more in the local political scene. So, in fact, she gets so involved and immersed in it that she ends up being voted in as Nevada senator in 2010. So she's a full-on senator.
Whoa.
I know.
How did she manage 10 years and she got married, had 3 kids and became a senator?
Yeah.
Boy, do I feel like a slug.
I know.
Can I just tell you?
No, she's already like a senator. I'm like, wow, I want to say were their options slim, but maybe she was really, really smart. And really good. But I know, sorry, Elizabeth.
Right, okay. She didn't make it to college, right?
No, I don't think so.
Who
that was
had time. She had 3 freaking kids. Okay.
Exactly. So, yeah.
All right.
Not at this point anyway, I don't think. But Dan, he's the doting father. He's always making these fun family videos. He's posting them for extended family online, and through emails to enjoy. Dan gets to spend a lot of time at home with the kids because he gets to work from home.
Oh my God, that sounds awesome.
I know.
Wow.
He loves it. And Elizabeth's so busy with her senatorial work that she's gone traveling a lot. So
yeah, I could imagine, right? Someone's got to be home.
So, yeah. While she's gone so much, Daniel, he starts to wonder if she's gone so much just for her job or if there might be more to it because it's a lot. Yeah. So he sees her on her phone all the time and she's in nearly constant communication with a certain name. And this name, I was like, what? There's actually a tiger. So it's Tiger Halseth.
That's their first name is Tiger?
Tiger.
Thanks for clarifying.
As in Aurora. Yes, he is Tiger.
I was going to say like Tiger is in woods. You're like Tiger is in rawr.
Either,
but I got
either
it.
or.
It's clarified. It's. I got it.
Helgin, something. Tiger. So they're texting at all times of the day and night. Yeah.
Either she's got no work boundaries or this is not work.
Great. Yep. Dan's not just one to sit by. So he actually reaches out to Tiger and he's like, hey, quit contacting my wife. This has gone too far. But it doesn't seem to work. And the pair seem to be still in constant communication. And then Daniel discovers Elizabeth and Tiger, they went away together alone on an extended work trip with quotation marks.
Oh.
Yeah. While he's home taking care of the 3 kids and constantly busy. Yeah. So that's rough. So Dan confronts Elizabeth when she gets home. He accuses her of having an affair. A giant argument breaks out and the confrontation gets a little heated.
Oh, I bet.
Can you imagine? They're screaming, they're yelling at one another. And at some point, Daniel gives up. He leaves the room and Elizabeth calls the police.
For him leaving the room?
I know.
He's left the room.
He's left the room. I don't see the danger here. But
but she calls the police.
Right. She calls the police because she says that Daniel had touched her inappropriately during the fight, as in a sexual way somehow, aggressively or something.
Okay. All right.
She claimed that Dan had become controlling, had taken her phone, her purse, and her car keys, not letting her leave. Ooh. And Daniel told the police, hey, no, I was just trying to get her attention and trying to scare her. But
well, it worked.
Yeah.
Maybe not how you thought, but it's
probably not a good thing.
It worked.
So the pair both agree that the incident ended when Dan came over and said it was all a joke. Okay. I don't know why that would end it, but just kidding.
Well, I didn't know it was a joke.
Oh, you were kidding. Oh,
my bad.
Yeah, thanks. Super weird, for sure. So it didn't seem like a huge incident from what I read, but without a lot of details, it's hard to tell. Like a lot of it's closed to the public.
Yeah, that's okay.
Because of Elizabeth's claim that Daniel had touched her inappropriately during the argument, he's arrested and charged with open and gross lewdness, which I had to look up. It's basically
open and gross lewdness, but he's in his own house. And I'm not saying he shouldn't have been charged with something. I just find that an odd.
It was an odd thing. But open and gross lewdness. So I looked it up. It's basically unwanted touching of another person. So it sounds worse than it probably is, but he's found guilty and he's sentenced to 6 months of probation and anger management classes. And I know, but the worst part, he has to register as a sex offender. Oh. Yeah, that's on your record like forever. So, not good. But Dan, he's not.
Probably also doesn't look good to be a senator and have a registered sex offender husband, right? That can't be a.
No, she's not into that. Exactly. So Dan, he tries as hard as he can to save the marriage because he's like, we've got kids together. I want to make this work. And they even try couples counseling, but it all bombs. And they end up divorcing. Dan moves into an apartment and a visitation schedule is set up with the kids. Ugh. So she gets full custody, basically, he gets visitation.
Okay.
I know. So the divorce, it's super hard on everyone, of course, but it seems to hit their youngest daughter, Sierra, the hardest. Sierra's, having a really hard time with it, and it's obvious she's struggling, and she withdraws into herself. So Dan tries what he can to help Sierra because they're pretty close. But the worst thing for him is their custody doesn't allow much time with the kids, so he can't really intervene.
Gotcha.
He sees from a distance Sierra withdrawing more and more, and he does what he can to include her in anything he and the other kids do. And he even makes plans around her to attempt to cheer her up, like things he knows she loves, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
When he did get time with kids, he'd always make huge plans and fun activities, big hikes, go visiting the aquarium, all that kind of stuff. But Sierra just continues to get worse and worse and becomes more and more difficult. And other family thought she's just being selfish with how she acts, but you don't know how any of this affects a child's brain.
No.
And Dan, he never felt that way.
She needs some help.
Exactly. He's seeing a kid who's and he's seeing a kid who is struggling and feeling like, he feels like he's partly to blame because he's part of the divorce.
Right.
So whenever they'd have time together, he'd spend half the time trying to break down her wall that she's built up, even with the other kids,
Gotcha.
And he seems to be the only one that can out of anybody.
Okay.
But she loves music and dancing. And much like him, she would eventually get to laughing and smiling when he worked his magic on her, because they related on so many levels like that.
Okay.
And Dan, he's, how I told you about how he films everything. So he's huge into video journaling. So he journals every moment of his life, basically, and especially the time he spends with his kids. So he always has cameras at the ready to chronicle everything, especially because he doesn't have much time with kids. He wants to get as much video as he can. Then in 2012, Elizabeth moves to Alaska with her new husband, Tiger.
Oh, they got married and she took him out of state. There's some states in Illinois, I think there has to be some kind of an agreement if you take them out of the state, or not even just out of state, but within a certain distance.
For sure. Yeah, I know that's the way here too. You can't just leave. So, but she did. She takes the kids with them. And Dan tries as hard as he can to fight that move, through the courts and everything. Because, it'd be a world away, half a world away. But
right. That's huge.
Mm-hmm. But he loses. And I have a feeling it has to do with that court case where he got registered as a sex offender and all that kind of stuff.
He has that working against him. Oh, the poor guy.
I know. And once they leave, he decides, okay, I can't focus on the bad. He's such a positive person. He decides to focus on his work to take his mind off of his pain of missing them. So he now works as an IT consultant, has his own business, and it really begins to take off. He does so well up. So in 2017, he moves to Texas, where his business has the most traffic.
Okay. It's too bad it wasn't Alaska.
I know. I'm sure he wanted to try, but this goes on for quite a few years. And Dan's always only seeing his kids periodically on the odd holiday or whenever he's given the chance. So then in 2020, Elizabeth and her whole crew of children and husband, they moved back to Vegas. And Dan is thrilled. He's like, oh, thank God, they'll be close. I can see them, spend more time with them.
Right.
So Dan travels to Vegas in March of 2020 and stays with a friend while he conducts business he has there. But then March 2020 is exactly when the pandemic, digs its claws in.
Shit, right.
So no flights are happening, not to mention meetings in person or anything like that. So Dan decides, okay, well, I'm going to stay in Vegas. I have to work remotely now anyway, so I'll just stay here.
Might as well be here. What difference does it make?
Right. So during this time, his daughter, Sierra, she starts texting her dad about some kind of unsettling things for her and for Dan to hear. She tells him in vague ways that, she doesn't feel safe at her house. She's scared and in trouble, but never quite gives details. He tries to squeeze info out of her, but without any physical evidence of abuse or without her saying much, he can't really do anything. However, he is closer, maybe because of the pandemic. He gets to keep the kids for a while in 2020. I think for the whole month of June of 2020. So he takes them on a road trip to Oregon to spend time with his parents and extended family. So the kids seem to be having a ball.
As long as they're cool with people coming to visit them in the middle of a pandemic with whatever they have from a different state. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a very scary
That was a huge thing for us, too. We didn't go anywhere. Yeah. So the kids seem to be having a ball, all except for Sierra. Yeah, and like you said, there's like a lot of family getting together at this point, like cousins and all that kind of stuff. So, but they must not have been worried about it. So all the kids seem to be having a blast except for Sierra, the troubled girl. She seems to be trying to act normal, but her true feelings would end up rearing their little heads here and there. So like one time the kids, along with all their cousins, they're all crowded around a campfire and roasting marshmallows. And they're all talking about how tough life is with parents. Oh, being a teenager and a child is so hard.
Whew. Yeah, it's rough.
It's rough. So the younger cousins, they're talking about how when they get angry, they yell. They sometimes throw things when they don't get their way. And Sierra turns to them and she says, well, if you're not getting your way, get rid of whomever is causing the problem.
Oh, right.
So that, it's like silent. And they're all like, well, that's weird. So the silence.
Did she take the movie Mean Girls just a little too literally? Like,
I know. They're all kind of like, doo-doo, crickets. Okay, so awkward moments.
Who invited Wednesday Addams? Like,
I know. She's like, you just get rid of them. Get rid of the problem.
This got dark.
Yeah. So things are a little awkward. And since Sierra had been moved to Alaska, this kind of brooding, self-centered attitude had come over her.
Okay.
However, Dan could never see anything wrong doing in Sierra. Like he thought she was just perfect. He always defended her, probably still feeling a little at fault.
Guilty. Yeah.
So after nearly a month with their dad, it's time for the kids to return to Elizabeth. And while the other kids run out to hug their mom when they see her, Sierra refused to get out of the car. She's like, nope. She said, I'm going to go live with my dad. You can't do anything about it. Okay. However, I mean, depending on the state and the rules put forth in the custody agreement, kids don't get to decide on those things.
Right,
so
exactly. They usually don't get to
make that choice yet, even though she's 17 at this time. Or no, 15, I think she is. She's 15.
Then she definitely
she can't make that decision yet. Dan, he sees the pain Sierra's going through, and he knows he can help her, but he tries to do everything he can to keep her with him.
Right.
He petitions the courts for custody of her, believing something must be really toxic at her mom's.
Right, yeah.
And in the opinion of other family members, though, Sierra, they thought she knew her dad would do anything for her, and she also knew how to manipulate her.
She's playing the system.
Right.
Gotcha.
Dan even goes so far as to move into her school district so that when the judge saw that he moved there, he'd be like, okay, well, I could grant custody because you won't be changing schools or anything like that.
Right.
I thought that would go in his favor.
That would help, yeah.
He starts dating a woman named Carrie, and the two had met through social media. And Dan felt Carrie would be a good influence on Sierra because she's positive and outgoing, and maybe it would help her when she's at his house. Have another female person and female figure in her life. So Carrie she said she noticed how quiet and withdrawn Sierra was, but she's like, you know what? I'll try what I can. I'll get to know her. Let's do this. So meanwhile, Dan and Elizabeth, they're still fighting in bitter court battles over this custody. I know, it just keeps going. So even with Dan trying all he can to win Sierra, the judge sides with Elizabeth again.
Okay, right.
So he's saying, at her home, she has a stable environment with two parents. And and I'm wondering if being a senator at that time, she kind of has sway over the judge.
Right. I mean, right.
Yeah. So as Carrie saw it, the girlfriend, from a removed perspective, she said Sierra didn't want to live with her mom because it was a more controlling environment where she couldn't get her way too much because she had the two parents. But at Dan's, she had much more freedom and leniency because Dan's trying to make up for time he doesn't get. So when Sierra's asked why she wants to live with her dad, she gave a great excuse of wanting to get to know him on a deeper level and rekindle their bond. So
she's good.
She's good. She's really good. So when Dan the judge is like, okay, I don't care. You have to go drop. I don't give a shit what you want. Right. So you've got to go back to your mom. So when Dan tries to drop Sierra back with her mom, as the court orders, she just ran away back to her dad's house.
See, and that's the problem. She's 15. She can
do things.
Oh,
yeah. So near this time, Sierra's 15. Dan goes on a work trip, and his mom, her name's Christine, Sierra's grandma, she comes to stay at their house to look after Sierra while he's away on this trip.
Okay.
On the very first night, when Sierra thinks Christine is asleep, she tries to leave the house. At night. Christine stops her. She's like, what the hell are you doing trying to leave at 9 at night? Right. And Sierra's like, I just wanted to go for a walk.
Right. Yeah.
9 at night in Las Vegas. No.
Okay.
Sorry, honey. Christine, she calls Dan. She's like, pretty sure Sierra's staying out all night and sleeping in all day. And Dan is like, shocked. He has no clue. Sierra wouldn't do something like this. No, she's not capable of this trickery.
Oh. He's so clueless.
So while Christine is there, she also discovers that Sierra's talking a lot to a boy online. And they text and they call all day and night.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So Grandma's noticing all this in the short amount of time she's there, but I don't know.
Dad has his head in the clouds. He is so wrapped up in his parental guilt.
So not knowing what's going on. So Christina questions Sierra, and she's like, does your dad know about this guy? And Sierra's just like, no, but he will. Okay.
Oh, sure. I'm sure you're going to advertise it. I'll call him up tomorrow. Sure.
Right. I'll just tell him all about it. So the boy Sierra had met online, he's 18. Remember, she's 15.
Of course he is.
Of course he is.
But what can Dad say?
Exactly.
Dad married an 18-year-old when he was 25.
Absolutely.
You got no ground to stand on.
Exactly. So. I'm sure she's thinking that too. So his name is Aaron Guerrero. And since Aaron is quite a bit older than Sierra, at least in the maturation timeline, basically, right. Dan is pretty concerned. He's uncomfortable with the situation, which, like you said, he thinks that, I wonder how your mom felt. But,
exactly.
Yep. And he's worried about the influence this 18-year-old boy is going to have on his young daughter. You think? So he's proven right when he discovers, and I'm not sure how he finds this out, but he discovers that Sierra and her boyfriend were making plans to rob her grandparents and run away together.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I mean, not small beans.
Oh, shit.
So Daniel's like, well, this is going to stop. So he calls Aaron's parents. They all agree that the teens, they're not going to see each other again. You know how that goes. So they're forbidden to interact.
We'll just tell them not to see each other. Case closed. It's all good.
Yeah.
We got this.
Oh, right. So Sierra's like, I don't care. I didn't care about him anyway. She plays it off. And
that's cute.
Somehow everyone believes her, but...
Oh, my God. What is wrong with these
I know.
people?
She's really good. So things just seem to be going pretty well. Sierra gets happier. She's coming out of her shell. And she turns 16 and celebrates with her dad, who makes sure to videotape it, of course. So some teens are pretty sly. And we know they don't like being forbidden from things. And Sierra was actually still talking to Aaron. What?
I am so shocked by this revelation.
She's probably still sneaking around with him. Don't know.
Sure.
So now it's the spring of 2021. And Daniel and Carrie, they both have work trips. I think Carrie might have lived with him and Sierra at this point because Sierra just kept running away. And so she's at Dan's house. So.
Right. At least we think she's staying the night under one roof.
Maybe not. Yeah, who knows? But both Dan and Carrie, they're scheduled on separate work trips in different states.
Gotcha.
Sierra has no other family to stay with, though I'm not sure if they asked Elizabeth or not. Probably didn't want to tell her,
right?
Hey, we got to leave her alone. But Dan decides he's going to let her stay alone while they're on their work trips.
Come on.
Right? Daddy.
Oh, you idiot.
I mean,
really?
Dan. So he's like, I don't feel overly comfortable, but I want to trust her and show her that I trust her.
You're cute.
That's cute. It's so cute. He thinks it's going to make her feel grown up and empowered.
It will.
It will.
It will.
You guess what thing she's going to be doing. So on April 7th, Dan, he gets back. He's back from his trip. He returns to Vegas.
Is the house leveled?
Right.
Is it still there?
I don't know. We'll find out. But seems to be a great trip. He had, videotaped it all, and you can see it all on Facebook, all his trip to Boston. That's where he had been going.
Okay.
And since the videos are online, as well as the pictures of Vegas that he had posted, his family knows, oh, he's back home. Because he posted pictures of his way into Vegas.
Good God. Does he also post like breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Is he like...
Pretty much.
Jesus,
that is the type he is. Yeah, he's very, very social. Like this guy...
It didn't happen if it wasn't on Facebook?
Right. Exactly. If it wasn't posted, it didn't happen. And he posted. Boy, did he post. Yeah, I looked at his Facebook. It's still up, and wow. Yep, has a lot on it. The next morning after he gets to Vegas, Dan's mom, Christine, tries to call him. And she calls him and texts him, but no answer, which super weird because Dan's, like you said, like
he's tied to his phone. He's
going to answer, and he's very social. So then she texts Sierra, and she's relieved when Sierra texts her back saying, oh, Dad's phone is just acting up. He should have it fixed by tomorrow night. He took it to the store. They have it.
Okay.
It makes sense. It happens. Right. So the next day, Christine tries to get a hold of Dan. She still can't. She starts to get a bad feeling. So she texts Sierra. She tells her, okay, have your dad call me on your phone since yours is obviously working. And Dan is super easy to connect with, and he doesn't ignore his phone calls. So now she gets even more distressed when Sierra doesn't text her back. But she's like, okay, I don't want to be a nag. I know she's a teenager. Like, my boys will never answer texts. Like, you can text them a million times, you'll not get an answer. Well, the next day, there's no contact from either Dan or Sierra the next morning. So Christine calls a woman named Peggy. Peggy is a longtime friend of Dan's, who is also his landlord to the place he lives in. Peggy, she starts heading to Dan's house to check on him. She decides to bring another friend along with her just in case, because she's a smart lady and she listens to true crime podcasts.
Right. She should, yeah. I ain't going over there alone.
I'm not going over there alone. You're coming with me. Yeah. Okay. So then Christine texts Sierra again. This is third morning. She's hoping for some sign of them.
Right.
She does get a response, so she's a little bit relieved. It says Dan's in the shower. Otherwise, she'd have him call her back. But the strange thing about that is it's late morning. Dan's an early riser who takes his showers as soon as he gets up. And his mom knows it. So Christina's pissed. And she texts Sierra. She's one of those that thinks Sierra's conniving little teen.
She's on to her.
Right. So she texts Sierra, do I need to call the police? Because Peggy's on her way right now. Well, no response comes. Oh. She's really pissed at this point. And like, what the hell's going on?
Right.
So Peggy and her friend Joey get to the house. The door's unlocked, so they open the door, and then they get this strong odor of smoke that hits them in the face. So they immediately are like, oh my God, there's a fire. They run upstairs looking for anyone or the source of the fire, and they find no one upstairs. So they head back down, and they see in the living room what had been a fire but had probably burned itself out, and it's still smoldering and smoking. So when Joey, her friend, swings open the door into the garage, he's horrified when he sees a body laying there. So they run and call 911, and Joey's on the phone, and he's like, yeah, there seems to be that there was a fire, but it's out. However, yeah, there's a body here.
Oh, God.
The dispatcher's like, do you need an ambulance? And Joey's response is, no, it's not needed because the girl is clearly dead. So police and fire show up, and they see the body is so badly burned that they can't even tell if it is a girl or a guy or, nothing. Yeah, it's just a charred thing.
This is the one that was in the garage?
Yep.
Oh,
garage
God.
body. Okay. Yeah. So the body's sent to the medical examiner, and it's determined it's actually Daniel Halseth, the dad. Cause of the death is sharp force injuries, and he had been stabbed over 70 times.
Oh, wow.
Right. 42 of those stab wounds were around his neck and head and shoulder area.
Holy crap.
And one wrist is almost completely cut off intentionally. Like, saw marks on there.
Oh boy.
He had no soot in his lungs, so obviously he didn't die from the fire.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Not sure if that was really a question after they found the 70 stab wounds, but
right, yeah, right.
Who knows? But it looked like Dan had been on the couch in the living room when he was killed due to the amount of blood that was on the couch. And there were no signs of forced entry. In fact, there was a key still in the front door, like unlocked.
Okay.
There's mops propped along the wall everywhere and cleaning supplies all over the place. On a table is a table saw and a brand new chainsaw. And the scene looked like a super hurried attempt to clean up, and the killer took off before they'd finished, obviously.
Oh, boy. Okay.
But fortunately for police, there's receipts laying all around. And because that's what you do. Leave a trail. Leave a trail.
Okay, so, receipts. Okay.
Yeah. So one of those receipts is from Bank of America. Police head there to get the surveillance video. It's a local place. Mm-hmm. On the video, it clearly shows Dan's car pulling up and Sierra popping out and withdrawing $600. And you can see, that somebody's in the passenger seat, but you can't tell who it is or any details, just a pink shirt.
Okay.
Another receipt, because you don't have just one. They find another receipt. It's from Home Depot. So they go get that video. And on the tape is footage of Aaron Guerrero buying the saws, drop cloths, disposable gloves, and he's wearing a pink shirt.
You know, I wonder how many Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware, employees, are checking people out and are looking at what's being purchased at one time and then looking at the person and trying to decide,
is this a murder kit?
Is this legit? Is this, are they cutting down a tree?
What are you doing with all these tarps?
Right?
I know, but that's not the only receipts they find. They find another receipt.
Well, they probably had to stop at Burger King or something.
I mean, you do get hungry.
Carb up first, right? Don't you need to carb up?
So much work to be done. Well, this one's from Winco. And on that footage, they see Sierra show up at 2:50 a.m. on April 8th. So that's the night after Dan arrived. Winco? I'm not really sure. I think it's a dollar store-ish type place.
Okay.
I thought maybe you guys had them out there, but no.
I don't know a Winco.
Maybe it's West Pacific North. No, that's Nevada. Okay, so they see footage that she's in there at 2:50 a.m. on April 8th buying a bunch of cleaning supplies.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so police are pretty sure, these two killed Dan together.
Yeah. This isn't a hard one to piece together
here.
No,
pretty sure we know who did this. So they get arrest warrants for the teens, and it's added to a database that alerts law enforcement around the U.S. to look for them, not just locally, which is great.
Oh, nice.
5 days after the murder, police on a transit tram, a train in Salt Lake City, they see a couple of teens. They ask them for their tram tickets. They're like, we don't have them. We didn't buy any. So police are like, okay,
they just were like, nope, we're not supposed to be here. They just admitted it.
Yeah.
I had them in my other pants. I threw it away.
Said something. Anything.
Wow.
But nope, we didn't buy any. And the police are like, okay, well, can I see your IDs? And they hand them over. So
that's smart. I mean, really?
Yeah. So the police are like, okay, they run the name checks and the warrants pop up for Sierra and Aaron. They're taken into custody easily. In their possession is a cell phone with some very damning evidence. And police forensically download all of the info from the phone, which chronicles their trip through Utah, along with a video, which I'll play for you because you kind of got to see this.
Oh, God. Okay.
Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Day 3 after murdering somebody.
Wow! Don't put that on the camera.
It was worth it.
And we had sex a lot today.
It was worth it. I got plenty of sex over it. I was payment for doing it.
And no bleeding this time. We got through that. We overcame.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow.
I know. Right?
Oh my.
First, so yeah, on there they say how
They literally admitted it.
Yeah. They both say it's day 3. Aaron says after murdering somebody.
After murdering somebody.
Mm-hmm. And talk about all the sex they're having.
Right.
As payment for doing the murder.
For payment, right. I'm so glad that they worked through the murder, through the pain part and the blood. Good for you.
But then, like, the weird slapping. He's
and then
slapping her and choking her.
And choking her. So, I did find that a little
I was like, this is creepy.
Yeah, that was a little odd. That was a little much.
Horrified. She's not, she's happy and carefree. She's not.
I've seen, this is not the brooding Wednesday Addams I was expecting.
No.
Okay, that was not her. But, I've seen usually people when they tease about stuff like that and the slapping or whatever, they either don't make contact.
Right, or it's really
or you don't
tapping.
Hear it. And, they make the motion of strangling somebody. They don't actually put their hands on someone's neck to the point where they go.
Like she's coughing. Yeah.
Right.
Creepy.
Right.
It's so disturbing. And it's just, they're not even caring at all. They're so proud of what they did.
No.
And especially for Sierra to not.
They look like they snuck out to go to a concert.
Right. So excited. This has been so much fun. Woo!
God. Holy cow.
I know. So disturbing, especially that they recorded it. And apparently on the phone, there's a bunch of other really horrifying photos that are on there, but they never said what it was. Bet. So, yeah. So here's what the cops and the prosecution believe happened. So Daniel had returned home on that Wednesday, April 7th on 2021 from his trip to Boston. He fell asleep on the couch in the living room, and that's when Sierra and Aaron attack him and stab him to death. They found at the scene 2 folding knives, one with Aaron's DNA and one with Sierra's. So this shows that both of them took part in the killing.
So they took turns.
Mm-hmm. Or both were doing it at the same time, something.
Right.
Then at 2:30 in the morning, Sierra goes to that Winco to buy all the bleach and cleaning supplies. And this shows that deed had probably happened before she went to Winco, since that was 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, a lot of people don't get motivated to suddenly clean the house at 2:30 a.m. unless there's something serious to clean.
Exactly. And to go buy a bunch of that stuff in the middle of the night. Red flags.
You know why? Because she's probably never cleaned the house and she has no fucking clue where the cleaning stuff is.
Exactly.
Because her dad didn't make her.
It's already there. Yep.
I'm sure he had cleaning products, but she's just like, my dad doesn't make me clean, so I don't know.
Yeah, so we probably don't have it. So.
Right. God.
Oh, so by morning, it seems they come up with a different plan, maybe they added to their plan, so they decide to dismember Dan. So that's when Aaron goes to Home Depot, gets the circular saws and the tarps and all that. And in the garage, I think in some of the videos I saw, or the crime scene photos, was a tarp hung around where the body was. Like they had tried to trying to keep it clean and dismember him.
Probably watched an episode of Dexter and was like,
that's what I was thinking. Yep. And I think it wasn't as easy as they thought it was going to be. Yeah, we hear that a lot, right? Oh, and then they get interrupted when Sierra gets that text saying, we're sending Peggy over.
Right.
And that's when they stuff Dan's body into a sleeping bag and they douse everything with lighter fluid and light it, and they run, hoping everything gets incinerated before anyone gets there. But
gotcha. Right.
They didn't
burn the evidence.
Open any windows or something, let the air flow. I don't know, something.
Or it hadn't been that long and it wasn't long enough to. Oh, no, because you said it was already smoldering.
It had already burned.
So they don't even know how to make a fucking fire.
No,
okay.
They didn't leave windows open for airflow or anything. So the weird thing is, if they had wanted to run away together, they had so much opportunity to steal Dan's car. It was already there. Some money. He had money with him.
They could have left while he was gone.
Totally. They could have just driven away. But for some reason.
What did they need to kill him for?
Right. For some reason, they decide he has to be dead. And authorities think it's because it's revenge for Dan calling Aaron's parents and them being kept apart. Some silly, almost like Romeo and Juliet type thing. But
oh, God.
So both teens decide to plead guilty to murder, and they're tried together at the same trial.
How romantic for them.
Right?
We're going down together.
In a place of glory. Yeah. We don't have our tram tickets.
Right.
That's their blaze of glory. Yeah.
Right.
At the sentencing, she doesn't apologize. She doesn't give any excuses. She's deserved it type of feeling. While Aaron, he did apologize for his part. And he actually did interviews later and talked about how horrible it was and how badly he felt and all this kind of stuff. But both are found guilty. They're sentenced to life in prison. In prison. Okay. Probably. That's how this world works here.
Right.
Sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 22 years.
Ugh.
So I did read that Dan and Elizabeth had portrayed themselves as these perfect parents, but they both didn't have the best of behaviors, but certainly nothing that justified murder. I had read stuff about Elizabeth, too, being very controlling and manipulative as well, but
still
nothing deserves murder.
Oh God, parents, get your kids counseling. If you see a bad, at least try.
I know those poor kids. That's the whole story. Did you want to hear my sources?
I do want to hear your sources.
All right, we've got 8newsnow.com, fox5vegas.com, Crime and Curiosities blog, reviewjournal.com, and the show I watched is American Monster, Day 3 After Murder.
Yeah.
And medium.com, I got some stuff off.
Damn.
Day 3 After Murder. Day 3.
That girl is cold.
Cold as ice. And looking at
he's the one that was nice to her.
I know. He was trying so hard.
You know, not her mom, who she said was, or what, we don't even know, but was
we don't know.
Maybe the stricter one or whatever.
I think she was probably setting limits and boundaries, and Sierra wasn't putting up with that crap. She's like, nope, I'm going to go where I can get what I want.
Yeah, but I still don't really understand the motivation.
I really don't either.
And they had the chance to take off. They
could have taken all his stuff, anything he had there, and just took off. Sold it, ran. Yeah. I know. It's so sad.
Wow.
Yeah, you can look at his Facebook page and it has all these videos still on there.
Hey, Oddies. Thanks for listening to another episode of ODFM. If you're a longtime listener, hey, we cannot thank you enough for your continued support. And if you're a new listener, thanks for giving us a try. If you like us, please drop us a like, subscribe, or rate us so we can share our stories with more people around the world. And if you'd like more information, like links to our podcast and socials, along with our Patreon fan page, those links are all on Linktree under ODFM Podcast. That's linktr.ee/ODFM Podcast. Side note, you guys, we're obsessed with fan art, and we love making things with it, like stickers for our fans. So if you'd like us to use your designs, send it to us at odfmpodcast@gmail.com. And if we use your design, we'll be sure to send you a sticker.
Thanks for listening to another episode of ODFM, hosted by Kelly DeVries and Jenna Swanson. Production and editing by Kelly DeVries. Theme music by Eric Swanson. ODFM is a satirical true crime podcast for entertainment purposes only. The stories you hear are serious and true. The comments and opinions are not. We apologize if any of our content is harmful or disrespectful.